Hello, happy Sunday, and welcome into Spooky Hollow. We are here in an alternate October altar space, ushering in the energies this week of this final stretch of October, leading up to the culmination of those energies with All Hallows Eve, Halloween, Samhain, and moving into the new month, bringing in the Day of the Dead, and so many other energetic celebrations and observances of this energy that we find ourselves in here in the depths of Scorpio season, the thinning of the veil, and really connecting in with as above, so below. The spiritual and the physical come together, where we will now tap into these energies for the week ahead, for the collective. So we're going to do our week ahead spread as we do. And it's funny, I think the light went out here, but that's good because it's giving us sort of this glow over the space here that we'll be tuning into for one last time with the Trick or Treat Tarot. And yes, because it's a jam-packed week and we're welcoming in the 1st of November at the end of this week, we also have a new moon in Scorpio happening that same day, November 1st. I'm going to touch on that when we get into the astrological weather here in a bit. So, of course, we're going to bring in the Queen of the Moon Oracle, where I'll be tapping into the overarching energy that's coming forward for this new moon in Scorpio that will be a part of the all-new November Empowerment Pack that's getting ready to kick off. I have so much to share with you today and over the coming days about everything that's coming in here. The end of the month is when we wind down this Empowerment Sharecast, and I start a new one for the month of November, which has already been created, and I will be sharing here at the end of all these messages, inviting you to continue the journey and step on over to the new Sharecast for the month of November. I'll be giving you an exclusive preview of the November altar, which is just here over my shoulder, with the awesome decks that I have chosen, the channeled words. It's deep. There's so much coming in for November. This is a wonderful month to join if you're not already with me for the Empowerment Pack. It's a great way for us to connect more comprehensively, where we will have 3 readings throughout the month of November, 2 coming in right off the gate, the month ahead reading and the new moon reading, both happening on the 1st. So I'm working on those things feverishly behind the scenes in divine timing, of course, that everyone who will be with me will be receiving those 2 part 1 videos where we will dip into the month of November, the color, crystal, and other elements. We're doing some alternative things with these decks this month. So it'll be a really neat time to see what's all coming forward to support us through the depths of Scorpio season, moving through to the end of the month, ushering in Sagittarius season, and also the decks that I've chosen, those channeled words. We get into all that in that first part 1 video for the month ahead, and then you receive part 2, which are your personal card pulls for the month ahead, beginning, middle, and end of the month, energies, oracle cards, and all the goodies, and then we have our full-fledged moon reading. So I'll talk about those as we go, because of course we're going to pull the actual card that will be the focal point for that reading today and get into that. And we're also going to bring in the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. I've been trying to rotate through all of my seasonal decks, and we will have some card pulls later this week that's actually going to bring together all the decks and pull a card from each one and create a collective message. So there's much more to come, more of my antics with my cheesy, Halloween fun that I hope you're here for and enjoying. But again, always dip in where it speaks to you. The Rocky Horror Picture messages were fun always. And then this week I have some more things up my sleeve to share. But for right now, we're just tuning in here in Spooky Hollow as the incense is burning, and we're tuning into the tarot for this last week of October for some insight, guidance, and awareness for this week. So if you would like a personal card pull this week, along with these, feel free to let me know in whatever way works for you. I offer those complimentary. I provide for you information that has been requested of me many times before about ways for an energy exchange for this loving service. Always completely optional for you. But again, the best way for us to work together is in one of these comprehensive options that are all available now for booking for November. So please reach out if you have any questions about any of those offers. But if you would like a free personal card pull this week, I just say I am doing them in divine timing, because obviously a lot of this collective comprehensive work that's coming up with the month ahead reading and the new moon reading, taking that priority in terms of my energy, but then offering those card pulls that I trust always come through in just the right timing. So thank you again so much for being here. Please join me in the November Sharecast. All of that to come here at the end of our messages. We'll be sharing the link for that. Okay, let's get into it. I am going to... The new moon and Samhain are all happening towards the end of the week. So I'm going to start with our 5 cards. Get those out here onto the altar once again with the Trick or Treat Tarot. See which characters in costume, what brilliant disguises wish to come through for us collectively as we come in here now to connect with our highest selves, with the angelic realm, ascended masters, guides, loved ones in spirit, and all of the spiritual realm coming in close here in this season to really guide us and bring through these illuminations and awarenesses. And a lot of these things are coming from the ground up, layer by layer, especially in this time where, we prepare for this season of going within. And we're going to find that theme to really be carrying over into November for sure. So let's see what's coming forward for us this week, starting with Monday, kicking the week off. What do we have coming in here for the week ahead? One card for Monday. There's that 8 of Cups with the tight whitey tighties that we have seen before. So there's this energy of moving on, right? And really acknowledging the way that, yes, all these little pumpkins have served, but there is an opportunity now for us to go beyond. And let me just see if the light wants to come on here, because I know there's a lot of reflection from all the shininess of these cards. So we'll see if that helps any with the visual optics there. Okay. Tuesday is a potential blocker challenge this week. So in what way we may be experiencing a potential blocker challenge. The Ace of Cups. Wow. Okay. So we see that one little pumpkin with that symbol of rebirth, the bat, just hovering over that cup, which is running over. So there's an offering coming in here again that is presenting itself perhaps a little off-putting. I'm getting Skeletor vibes from that. That's taking us back to the 80s, to He-Man, right? And Skeletor. So for those of you who know what the heck I'm talking about, just got a little nod there. Wednesday is our midweek blessing. And in the seat that I'm in right now, I actually am sitting in front of a window, so I can see outside where a lot of nature will speak, and there's wishes blowing around. Those little white wispy seeds? And they're sort of just like floating slowly in the air, and one just caught my eye, a little wish that was going by. It's considered good luck if you catch that and make a wish and send it back out on that seed. So that's very interesting. What is coming in then for, a little flippy there. What is coming in then for our midweek blessing? Wednesday. 3 of Pentacles. Teamwork makes the dream work. So there's collaboration, co-creation, working together. That is lovely. So we move from the Ace of Cups to the 3 of Pentacles for that midweek blessing. Okay, now Thursday is going to be how we are growing, and it is All Hallows Eve. It's Halloween on Thursday, the 31st, the final day of October. What is coming forward for us here for how we are growing, which feels very cumulative, like a culmination. What just flipped over? The Four of Wands. Okay, noted. Four of Wands. Like everything culminating into that final day of the month from where we started here when we set out into the whole month ahead and the messages that came forward to really set the tone. What comes forward now for how we are growing on this final day of the month? Oh, stop it. It's the Fool. How perfect. Endings, new beginnings, the Fool. Now, this is a card that I featured. If you did catch my YouTube video that I posted last week on Thursday, actually, so a week from this position, you can scroll back in the polos. You'll see I shared some Thursday thoughts, and it had a link to a YouTube video that I spontaneously recorded. It had been a long time since I did that. And just pulled some cards and brought through some spiritual breadcrumbs and musings and such. And if you did check that out, thank you so much. If you want to know what the heck I'm talking about, like I said, you can see that link back here in the polos, or if you're catching this on YouTube, I'll put the link in the description to that video. But I featured the Fool starting out under that sheet, brilliant disguises and how we arrive. So there's definitely some things to chat about with that one. And now finally Friday. And I'm going to let me pull the 𝓲𝓽𝓮 card actually while we're here on Thursday's energy and tapping into this seasonal celebration and culmination of harvest season. Winding down is what the traditional, 𝓲𝓽𝓮 represents, the end of the harvest season and what will lead into the winter time. So this sense of, again, being one with nature and being in flow with the elements and the energies that are coming forward. There's a lot of beautiful symbolism in the practices of 𝓲𝓽𝓮. And this is a lovely deck that we never know what we're going to get from here in terms of a symbol, a sign, a message, asking for that to come forward for us collectively for this Halloween, for 𝓲𝓽𝓮, a message to enrich what's coming forward here for us this week. Let's see. One card, please. Oh, I love this one. Owl, card 27. I'm not surprised. The number 9 has been coming up all day for me, in every direction. 2 + 7 is 9, and it is ushering in these energies of persevering through near completion of cycles. We're almost through, right? We're about to move then into a new month with a new moon on the next day. So there's this wrapping up and persevering through this kind of coming to that fever pitch that we talked about this with the super moon card that we pulled for the full moon in Aries, which was also appropriately a super moon, where there was that fullness, the attraction of what has been pulled in, what has been drawn in that is filled up, like ready to pop energy. Now we're dipping into this 9 energy, and one of the things that we'll definitely be feeling into through the empowerment pack and the channeled words that I'll be sharing is going to be about the Hermit energy, which is card 9 in the tarot. And that is going to be the archetype that overlights all of 2025. I've been talking about this year, 2024, adding up to 8 and correlating with the Strength card of the tarot, bringing through themes throughout this year about that strength and taming that beast within and bringing forward great healing through the owning of our worth, the seeking unapologetically of our joy, shining of our inner light, and balancing those out of balance aspects of ego, of the shame and the anxiety, the worry, the fear, those lower vibrational aspects. So that's all been present throughout the year as we've moved through. Now we're really turning into the next year coming in, number 9, the year of the Hermit, and really being about that inner light and going within. So that's what we'll really be exploring. And yes, inner wisdom. So Owl with a 9 energy, bringing forward this card with behold sight, O ancient ones, for there is magic in the darkest of places. if one dares open their eyes. And that's the thing, is all of this energy has been coming forward, and some of it very challenging. You know, like I said, it is Scorpio season, and we are experiencing a lot of intense, dense energy and murky, mucky, all the things. And this is beautiful because there's magic in the darkest of places, but we must open our eyes. And that includes our third eye, that ability to see intuitively and within our wise self. So that'll be wonderful to unpack the additional oracle meanings with that card. Now we're going to pick our final tarot card for Friday, and then we'll cap it off with the Queen of the Moon, which brings us in officially to November 1st here with this Friday card. That is my firstborn's 19th birthday. Yeah, wow. She's my college kid. It's her first birthday that we will not be together on the day of her birthday, this year of many changes for me, and evolving and going with the flow of, you know, changing landscapes here. But we will see her over the weekend for her volleyball games and to celebrate her birthday properly. So that brings in not only the day of her birth, All Saints Day, celebrating the Day of the Dead and the beautiful messages that will be coming forward. And I have, again, still beautiful decks I would love to bring out, most likely through the month of November, over on the new Sharecast we'll be moving to connect in with that ancestral energy and beyond the veil as well. So let's see, Friday, wrapping it up, and then we'll pull our Queen of the Moon card that will be a part of the Empowerment Pack's New Moon reading, which is available to everyone who is joining me for the full 3 readings for the month Empowerment Pack, but you can also get just the New Moon reading a la carte if you would like, and just come along for that Scorpio New Moon. This is great. So you may remember that the same week that the 8 of Cups came up down here, the 6 of Swords came up down here. It was actually the potential blocker challenge. How might it be hard for us to move through these choppy waters and reach this sunrise, new dawn on the horizon? The 6 of Swords. So this is beautiful because it's really brought us very full circle here. I don't remember exactly which week these two came up, but very interesting that these two energies last presented themselves together, and they're back again, but switched ends, to bring in this energy of moving on, of release and letting go, but also, you know, the growth and expansion that's coming through all of these experiences. So that is wonderful. We'll get into that. Now, let's pull our final card here for the week, Queen of the Moon. And oh my gosh, we can't make this up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children that just ran up to my house, and they're coming to my door looking for my son, but they're all hiding in the bushes and they're looking at me through the window. We can't make this up. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. Children and their play and joy and simplicity they're hiding, but it's to surprise my son who's not home. So they're just getting my little one's attention. All right, let's see. Oh, and she doesn't know he's not home. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, I love it. It is, I think this is the poster child for the deck, isn't it? No, but it's one of the power cards. Yeah, okay. So we got power coming forward here. Card 16, which 1 + 6 is giving us that energy of 7. This is the card for the full moon, even though this is a new moon. So we're experiencing some illumination coming in here to some degree. And like, I've yet to really tap into this. This is part of what I'm getting ready to connect in with, is some of the energetic weather around this new moon, where there's a lot of seeding happening. There's a lot of new beginnings and potential, but often things are not yet seen. That being said, we're seeing a lot of this water or landscape around her. When I first look at it, I see it as water, but there's this energy of there's deep feels. There's a lot of connection in with this moon getting our attention as being like a power player in the energies that we have an opportunity to really work with throughout this month of November, knowing that this is all coming forward right out the gate on the first of the month. So we'll get into this, see what we bring forward here. And of course, I'll be expanding on that much further with the new moon in Scorpio reading that you are invited to join me for. So once again, we're wrapping this up. I'm going to come back in here with the energetic weather for the week ahead, and we'll start getting into all of these cards one by one here for you to take in your time. If you would like a free personal card pull, I deliver that to you right here on Marco Polo in a private video. I'll be doing those this week in divine timing around this other comprehensive work. But feel free to quick reply to this video or send me a message in whatever way works for you, and I will get you on the list for that. And then if you would like to connect more comprehensively this coming month of November, keep your eyes peeled here for the booking link for all of those offerings. If you have any questions about any of it, please let me know. And then further, I'll be sharing the link to the November Empowerment Sharecast so you can hop on over and join me there. Thank you all so much. Let's get into these messages and see what's coming up for us this week. All right, so we're starting off with some energetic weather for this last week of October and dipping into the beginning of November. So we're starting with one aspect I'm pointing out for October 30th, Mercury opposite Uranus. So Uranus is the higher octave to Mercury, where we get a double dose of some strong mercurial energy this day, the 30th, and the following day, the 31st. So as we wrap up October, our minds may be running in overdrive. Mercury ruling the mind, our thoughts, and very much, we're having this energy that's being amplified by this aspect. So Mercury and Uranus together can fuel our brain waves and bring inspired ideas. Now, this is interesting since we know we culminated the week with that Six of Swords, which is a whole lot of thoughts, ideas, air, energy going on. Alternatively, as we have these inspired ideas coming in, this could lead us to be feeling hopeful to try something new or experiment with a new way of thinking. Or we may just feel pushed to our limits mentally. So again, it can show up any number of ways. If that's the case, where you're feeling pushed to your limits mentally, it's time to clear the mental clutter and give yourself some breathing space, which actually beautifully flows into that Six of Swords, which was the card for November 1st, where we're then turning over that new leaf into the new month. And so then we start taking a look at the energies coming in for November 1st and onward. So for this week, right out the gate on the 1st, we're talking about the Scorpio New Moon, November 1st. So that is welcoming us into the start of the month. And this is a lunar cycle that promises to be one that provides us strength and helps us to muster the courage to make it through whatever the month has in store for us. So remember, we got the Power card from the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and it's very bold and strong and whole, in its appearance, even though this is a new moon where there is a lack of light, right? And it's just beginning energy. So the energy around this new moon could feel like hard work at first, but the rewards will definitely follow. So what this is saying is that, being that this lunation falls in that watery sign of Scorpio, we may be feeling the need to retreat and go within in order to build our strength and come to terms with what is going on for us. We may be experiencing some deep realizations under this new moon. So again, this is where I think some of this illumination and awareness is coming in, despite, the murkiness and the clarity we may be getting from all the depths of feels and layers that we're experiencing right now. So again, we're going to dive in much deeper into this one in the Empowerment Pack reading for the new moon, which you can join me as a part of the Empowerment Pack 3 for the month, or just one a la carte new moon reading if you would like. I'm also going to touch on here an aspect for that weekend, November 3rd, which is definitely noteworthy. Mars opposite Pluto on November 3rd. So the dance between Mars and Pluto is one that we've been feeling since mid-October. Mars and Pluto together are a combative and intense combination, but they also challenge us to stand in our power and source our inner strength. Perfect. This is like a coming together of these two aspects that are coming forward for me in the inner strength, inner wisdom, going within, but also power that's coming through with this Queen of the Moon energy. So with Mars and Pluto reaching the peak of their alignment this day, we may feel the tensions rising, but also slowly dissipating. And it may be easier for us to find our calm and work through the intensity with greater ease. Yay! If we are feeling burnt out after today, we might start to feel an uptick in energy. So again, just to bring through this potential weather, to have some awareness around, how we might like to dress for the energies. But once again, greeting that with your inner wisdom, your free will, and stepping out from a place of flow and allowance. And when we do so, we will find some greater ease perhaps in moving through all of that weather. Okay, let's get started by diving into our tarot card messages for the week. All right, here we go. We are diving into our tarot messages for our collective group this week to see what's coming up in general. Of course, as a collective reading, you may find some aspects to resonate more than others. That's how it works. So feel free to take what resonates, leave the rest. There's always someone else there to pick it up. You can leave those little pumpkins behind if they don't resonate with you, but we're kicking it off here with the Monday message, which is a repeat. We've received this in the past on a week that we also received our Friday card. The 8 of Cups here is about moving on. And in this case, exploring beyond is what I'm going to say, because there's a story that goes with this trick-or-treater, this superhero, that is about pumpkin seeking as an analogy, right? To seeking out, I'm going to say the pumpkin, like knowing that it's the symbol for the pentacles in a lot of these Halloween decks as well, is about material resources or things that we may be having in our environment, which are these little pumpkins that represent all of those things that we have now that make up the safety, the security, the money, the energy, the tangible items and aspects that are in our midst that we may be expanding beyond now. We're feeling the call, feeling the wind beneath our cape here to branch out and expand beyond. Because the way that it's described here with the Trick or Treat Tarot is that it's bringing up a potential quest in your future, saying that, if you find yourself in a situation where all things considered, it's not to say that everything is rosy and wonderful and perfect at this time by any stretch, but that if things are pretty good overall, right? In fact, some might say one is very lucky or has a great life in many, many aspects. And perhaps you even agree with that, which is why if you're feeling an itch or a feeling of dissatisfaction with all the pumpkins that meet your eye, your environment, what's around you, this can be your work, your circles of connection, relationships, even just like I'm feeling like things in your environment, your home environment that you'd like to change, old stuff that you're wanting to put a fresh coat of paint or change something that, hey, it's nice, it's lovely and all, but I'm feeling disenchanted with it. I have that itchy feeling as it's described here in my gut, which is really confusing because what happens, aspects of us bring in the shame and the guilt that says, you ought to be glad for what you have. You should be grateful that you have walls to paint or, that you have friends or that you have a job or whatever it is, that it assigns all of this guilt for even feeling the inkling to explore something beyond, to expand beyond. And so, it's unique in the way that this card presents itself, and interesting that it comes with the bat dropping that pumpkin in the cup right on the other side of it as a potential blocker challenge. So it's saying, the truth is that even though things are very comfortable, They just aren't satisfying you anymore. So you probably can't explain that feeling to others because you don't completely understand it yourself. All you know is that you must go in search of something that is missing. And you won't feel at ease until you do. This isn't a guarantee you will find it, but you have to try. So we're getting the sense of longing for more, expanding, right? Leveling up, layering up, as I'm saying for Scorpio season, because yes, it does include some of that down to earth, boots on the ground, sifting through the pumpkin seeds that have already come to pass type energy. But there's an excitement building is what I feel with this superhero. And I mentioned last time that those tighty whities were looking pretty tight. So it was like, okay, I've got this costume down and I'm wearing it, but I'm really feeling the compression. And this links into the snake skin. You know, that was something that was coming forward in that YouTube video I mentioned that I did last week as Thursday Thoughts. That really was talking about shedding that skin and letting it go, but also recognizing the way in which we can repurpose things into something that is going to continue to come with us, but in a whole new form. So I think we'll unpack that more with these upcoming cards, but that is very interesting to be setting the tone from that place of branching out beyond the little pumpkins, seeking out that great pumpkin, moving forward. So let's take a look now at Tuesday, bringing that pumpkin, sticking the thorn in our side of, whoop, not so fast, potential block or challenge. What do we need to know? All right, here we go with Tuesday's potential block or challenge, which is sending me on a rabbit hole chase of, I mentioned in the card polls that this was giving me a major throwback to the 80s, He-Man and Skeletor, and it was reminding me of this toy that I remember every cool boy had, at least that I never had this toy, but I remember the really cool thing about this, and I just looked it up to refresh my memory, that the castle, Skeletor's castle, was called Grayskull. And of course, this whole line was the Masters of the Universe, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And of course, Skeletor was the protagonist, and he had this castle Grayskull, and it had this cool feature that was like a handheld microphone that you could pick up off the side of the castle. And I don't know if it had this, I know the whole front of the castle was a skull. And then like if it was a cobra head or whatever it was, you could speak into it and it changed your voice and it was echoey and ominous. And it was like the coolest thing for the boys, you know, that I knew. I have to say I was, well, for anyone who wants to play with it. But at the time, I only got to see it like on that rare occasion I would encounter someone that had one. And so anyway, let's dial it back. All of those breadcrumbs surely mean something. I think it's interesting how they're holding this chalice like that skull-headed microphone, projecting out Masters of the Universe, you know, this energy of the Ace of Cups, which is actually bringing forward a message or some type of gift or offering of emotion flow feels because it's happening in the cup suit. But it also features that pumpkin again with the bat. And I shared this in previous weeks, the spirit animal reference to the bat as rebirth. And the pumpkin, when we talk about what we just came from setting the tone for the week, those little pumpkins expanding beyond and moving into new opportunities, another pumpkin dropping into our chalice. But it's interesting because it has that skull face to it. So what's the backstory there? And to kind of see, you know, what's coming in and how the heck it's going to connect into He-Man and Castle Grayskull. I digress. So Ace of Cups, and here's just your close-up view of that. Ready for a goblet of nice warm blood with a pumpkin chaser? It might be good for what ails you and be just the thing to lift your spirits. On this night of ultimate tricks and treats, make sure of what's in that cup. If it sounds good, drink up and toast all things that go bump in the night. When this card comes up, it is time to fill up your well. You know that wellspring deep in your soul that helps keep you going. It goes deep, but it does need to be refreshed sometimes. Whatever it is for you, music, prayer, meditation, exercise, art, you are being advised to indulge. Either you're near empty or you're going to need reserves. If you recently felt emotionally beat up, this can smooth your tired heart. If you're looking for love, this card is a good sign. So keep your eyes open. Drink deeply. Cheers. And so it is speaking to new beginnings of peace, love, healing, grace, nourishing the soul, possibly new relationships coming in for you of all kinds. So what's interesting is the Two of Cups came up last week. It was actually Friday's card. It's the very next card as we go through the cup suit. And this is a flashback to what that looked like. You can see up close. One of the things I had wanted to point out about this card was the skull and crossbones on their glasses. They are toasting. They are coming together. But I thought it was interesting because they're toasting drinking poison, right? So the dynamics of a relationship, contract, agreement, these different ways in which these pumpkins present themselves, and there's a rebirth coming in. How could that be tricky? There's some type of a block or a challenge or something coming in to say, hey, what's in that cup? But also, you may have been sipping from a cup that has really depleted you and in some ways has run dry, that on a very practical level, you could be feeling some burnout, rundown, emotional exhaustion, where it calls for some self-care, some refueling, some allowing others to help refill your cup. And so, because it's in the position of the block or challenge, it's possible that something new is coming in and being offered, where you're going to want to use that degree of discernment about whether it is replenishing you or not, when it comes to those skull and crossbones and the notion of, poison. But also, it can be tricky because to the extent that there have been collaborative, and this is going to lead us right into our midweek blessing, the Three of Pentacles, collaborative agreements and collaborations and co-creations that did contain some toxicity that actually has, and I'm literally getting the way that if we drank something that was poison, we may be compelled to bring it back up, right? So throwing it up or in some way moving through us in a way that's letting us know that we have ingested something that is not in alignment with our body, our energy, it's being rejected, it's being ejected, in some way. So I do feel like for some people, there could be some tough and maybe bitter, lessons or understandings that are coming through different relationships and dynamics and things that we have partaken of and cups that we've been drinking from, or allowing our cup to run empty while still attempting to go out there and fight the masters of the universe. Let's bring in the He-Man. What is that about? But this energy of the way that the voice was changed with the old Skeletor's, Castle Grayskull, brilliant disguises. We're back again to the way in which things are being revealed afresh, and that can be difficult, that can be challenging. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it's about the way that we may feel. This is all about the feels and the emotions of it all. And so if you're feeling an abundance of that running over, just to allow that to flow, to clear, and you may want to be doing some simple things. Again, if this is coming up in a really practical way for your physical well-being and how you're feeling, staying hydrated, eating and drinking things that are very clear and pure and not a lot of density to them, so that you can help to restore that physical temple in order to come back into alignment. So a number of different ways that it could be showing up, but that pumpkin chaser is quite interesting because the pumpkin is like a little seed, a little token, a little something of offering that it's going to take some discernment as to whether or not you want to take that particular pumpkin and how you might wish to proceed, because it's all leading up to the new moon and what's being seeded and the intentions, the wishes that we want to bring forward. And we're going to ideally want to have some clarity and some refreshment and replenishment as we come into that space, so that we're getting that from an ideal. And I'm just realizing that there's another card that looks like 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮. Okay, we'll talk about it when we get there. Okay, let's move on to Wednesday and see what's coming forward for our midweek blessing. Okay, spiritual breadcrumbs persisting. I'm getting that nudge that I have to show you this. So I just looked it up. Yes, it's a thing. It's on eBay. 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮, originally retailing for $8.99, now available for hundreds of dollars. 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮. I want you to see the front because we're making our way to Friday's Six of Swords, and we just can't make it up that the tarot imitates life. So this is the front of the castle. And then noteworthy to show you the inside of the castle. And so now here, when we open up the castle, we see sort of this green hue, the energy of what's going on there. Note the ladder. And I'm going to bring up Wednesday's card now with this in mind. All right, Wednesday representing our midweek blessing. Oh, look at that. Green hue with the ladder. And here we have all these characters come together with this gray, ominous sky in the background as the Three of Pentacles, bringing us a blessing for this week. So we're going to tap into, this is not a card I've seen yet this season from here. Let's get our close-up view so you can see. Loving that ladder there, symbolizing again like this leveling up and this ascension process that's happening. But as I said when I pulled this, that the teamwork makes the dream work. So what's the blessing in all of that? With all these other fellow trick-or-treaters out there that we're encountering, it says, forget costume contests. This group of friends is working on a scarecrow, hoping to create something worthy of a prize. Doing awesome things on your own brings satisfaction, sure. Working on something with others adds another layer of fulfillment. Just like making something together, putting together a good group costume brings those same good feels. Teamwork. When this card shows up, prepare to roll up your sleeves and participate in a promising opportunity. When inspiration meets planning, talent, and resources, we can do almost anything. Gather your team, assign tasks based on skills, and make something amazing. While this card can indicate working alone on a project that requires a wide variety of skills, it most often means working with others. It also suggests that the project will demand different talents and that the result will be bigger, better, and more wonderful than anything that could be done alone. So we're talking teamwork, creation, skilled work, making something of value. So it's a midweek blessing. And this is where, again, as we're coming into reflecting upon all of those different pumpkins and whatever they may represent that we're feeling drawn to expand beyond at this time, or we're going through the feels of what all we have ingested and taken in terms of all of the collective emotions that are presenting themselves at this time, whether they are stagnated, blocked, flowing, overflowing, and whatever in between. It's all the other trick-or-treaters, all the other players in the group costume that are providing all of the color for that, let's just say, creating the scenery, creating the different roles that are helping to facilitate whatever it is that we are connecting in with. So it's a blessing in the awareness that can come from kind of seeing beyond those brilliant disguises, pulling back the masks and looking at, those brilliant disguises and how they have served in terms of, the way in which they are helping us to build something of value. And last week we talked about the barmbrack bread, and that came up all week long because what was baked in there, the symbols of the different pieces that were baked in there and what they stood for and like what was in your slice versus somebody else's slice. I had brought through sweetness of synergy. So the synergizing was taking a whole bunch of different parts and bringing them all together for the purpose of creating something even better, something of even greater value, right here. So separately, we could come up with an amazing costume and win the prizes, but this is the group costume. This is all those other players that we're partnering with and the costumes that we're all assembling with these masters of the universe, that we all come together, and to the table we each bring unique gifts, awarenesses, abilities, challenges, wounding, all of it. Coming to the table together, climbing this ladder, attempting to put together something that resembles a pumpkin-headed scarecrow, right? So we have this energy of the blessings in disguise as well. And I think I said that at the beginning of the month, that was another word that was coming in for me when I was tapping into the energies of October, when I was sitting with it in September and I started hearing brilliant disguise. It was blessings and brilliant disguises. So, or the blessings of brilliant disguises. So I do feel that like we're starting to be able to pick the pumpkins, and the pumpkins again representing the pentacles, the coins, the seeds, the goodies that have come forward from whatever dynamic relationships, toasting, cheers to these goblets that contain all hosts of feels and flow and emotions and energies that we've ingested, that we have synergized, that we now bring back out in some form, that the goal being for it to be something that's greater, the whole being greater than the sum of all of our parts is what I'm feeling there. So, everybody coming together here in the cornfield to create this scarecrow, which will tower above anything that seeks to do harm or disrupt, to provide that, that sense of protection and ability to kind of oversee, because you see that it's at that elevated height, oversee, all of the things that are coming in from that higher perspective, that collectively we can bring forward a higher perspective. And there's so many blessings in that for sure. Let's take a look now at the series of Thursday energies we'll have with both the tarot energy that came forward and of course, our Samhain oracle card. Now, Thursday brings in how are we growing? And this is Halloween. This is it. This is where it all started. It's so perfect that we got the Fool, the original card 0, the beginning of it all. Let me give you your close-up. The Fool and the black cat coming in here. And I just love how he's holding his empty trick-or-treat basket, and setting out on the evening to see what goodies all may come in there. So this is really full circle for us, like I was saying in the card pull, to round out ending this month similar to where we began, under the sheet, looking out and feeling into the energies that have been coming forward here. So the Fool from the Trick or Treat Tarot says, on Halloween, the world becomes a new place, and we in our costumes become new in it. Our young ghost steps out into the night with their cat companion to see what adventures await. Being a new person in a new world can be scary. It is also exciting and a lot of fun. When this card comes up, you are invited to start a new journey. You will need to trust in yourself and the universe as you take this leap of faith. You may feel like you are wearing a costume, like you are faking it in some way. Getting used to the situation will take a while, and at first you might feel like a kid going trick-or-treating by themselves for the first time. That's okay and perfectly normal. Be patient, be curious, and be open to new experiences. Just put the finishing touches on your costume, open the door, take a deep breath, and step out into the unknown. And the key words are coming in for beginnings, innocence, freedom, spontaneity, impulsiveness, adventure, youth, faith, and fearlessness. It's interesting because, like I said, all those boys descended upon my lawn. They literally ran up to my window and were like right there hiding in the bushes to knock on the door to seek out their friend, my son, that, they remind us of this sense of, youthful joy and love for adventure and just the imagination and the ability that they have to create from something as simple as a bed sheet, creating a costume simply from things that we already have to work with, and by costume, in the way that it's speaking to, pick your costume, put it on, step out the door. Yes, we're peeling back the brilliant disguises, and we're not trying to embrace being inauthentic as to who we are or hiding who we are, but more like adopting all of these different aspects of ourself and understanding that they all present themselves differently. We have all different ways in which we greet the world and that we connect with others. And we may be looking, wearing, sounding different in each of those encounters because those are all parts of our multidimensional selves. And so how are we growing? I think there's greater understanding and connection with more and more of those parts. More and more of those parts are coming to light. And remember, Halloween in and of itself, and depending on whether it's something that you enjoy or not, it's not for everybody, but certainly to the extent of what it symbolizes. And we talked about this throughout this month. The trick or treat card was one that I featured as a part of the trick or treat card itself, came from the Halloween Oracle, where it talked about the origins of Halloween and how it began as a way to scare away the bad spirits, that if we dressed as bad as they were, that they wouldn't bother us. That was the thought. And of course, over time, it's evolved to something much, much different and a lot more sugar. But the idea that we have the ability to present ourselves in any way, and that trying on these different costumes, Halloween can provide for people a lot of times where it's safe to play. It's safe to dabble with wearing a wig or trying on an outfit that you wouldn't normally wear because you're able to be feeling safe and secure behind the mask or behind the facade of, oh, it's just a costume. But actually, I always really wondered what it would be like to wear. I always say one of my favorite Halloween costumes I've ever did as an adult, and Halloween is not something that is like we get to celebrate here much other than for the kids. But in those years where there was time and space for maybe some adult Halloween parties and things, my favorite costume was a 1920s flapper. I have always felt very connected to that era. No doubt have experienced it firsthand in other lifetimes, but the energy of there was something about that of prohibition and the clothing and all of it that it was so fun for me to dress up in that costume. And I wore like a platinum blonde, like curly wig, and had the dress with the fringe and the gloves and the pearls and, all the things that made up the costume of a flapper, somebody who was, going against the grain in the prohibition era and, had like, giving their cares away and really like, and it was something that I wouldn't normally have done, obviously, in my everyday, but I loved that costume. And I'm just saying that because I feel that this notion of it is a blank canvas in terms of dressing it up any way you wish, just for the sheer fun of it, the adventure, the lightness and the joy of it. And I had another part of that message that I shared on the YouTube video last Thursday that I was talking about here during the card polls. That link, again, on the Sharecast back under Thursday Thoughts. I had the link to the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, I've put it in the caption below this video. The link to my YouTube video from last week where I was pulling cards, but I was basing it on this card and the world, which is the ghost come full circle back home with a full basket brimming with candy, giving the peace sign, and back at home, full circle from that adventure. And so I talked a little bit there about this misnomer that we come here as a blank slate, free and ready to be whatever we will, and kind of like not bringing in the understanding that actually a soul does carry many layers of experiences and lifetimes and all of it. So that is all coloring our experience and our lens. And so maybe expanding the understanding beyond like, oh yeah, you can just be whatever you want to be, to recognize where some of these potential blocks and challenges have been coming in for you as a result of these old layers that are still running in the backdrop. So I won't repeat all of that. Like I said, I really got into that in that YouTube video, but that's another side of the Fool that I just wanted to mention because that's a new thought for me that came in about well, yeah, we're not exactly a clean slate completely with not a care in the world. On the surface, that's the case. But underneath that sheet, under those layers, under these skins of the soul, there's so much more in there. And yes, it can be tricky. It's not all treats. But if we are growing in the knowing that that is the case, then surely we are benefiting from that. And that is how we are growing and understanding that there's so much more to these brilliant disguises. So that came in pretty big. And I'm going to bring in now our we're doing the Samhain oracle message to go with Halloween. All right, so we'll hone in here to this duo coming together for Halloween, the 31st. We also pulled this bonus message from the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle, and we got the card of Owl, which is carrying the frequency of 9 energy, which is coming to an end. A cycle is about to end. There's perseverance. There's an energy of persistence and new beginnings just on the other side. And with this being the last day of October, that feels right on. So the owl came forward with this message that brings forward knowledge and the essence of the observer. So this gives me definitely high priestess vibes. That is what are you asking me for? You already know. It is within you. It is. And there's this message here about this magic being found in the darkest of places if one dares to open their eyes. So the message coming forward from the owl is there is no witch or Samhain without the mention of owls. Owls are majestic creatures, often known as old souls, that have fantastic sight and the ability to turn their heads 270 degrees. Their energy is one of vast knowledge and observation. They sit in silence, carefully watching their surroundings for their prey. They do not need to search for what they seek endlessly, as they know that what they seek will soon come to them. Owl has called because you are one of the great keepers of wisdom, even if you don't know it yet. You have knowledge and experience that others need. You have something to share with the world, a voice that must be heard and healing that must be shared. This is a natural path for you, and as the saying goes, when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. You are being asked to expand your spiritual knowledge in the realm of the owl, the night. Some quiet messages and signs wait for you in the unknown void where light is not present. This message is amplified. Oh, if you also pulled the Great Darkness, but we just pulled this one card. But really a reminder to not be afraid of what you cannot see. Trust in your other senses to pick up the load when your eyes are not enough. So interesting coming up with this. Nothing but 2 holes for the eyes cut out of this ghost, right? We're talking about the third eye. We're talking about your intuition, your inner knowing, your wise self, and accessing those layers that come in with the wisdom of the owl. So this opportunity for us to see in the dark, to see through the dark, to see despite the dark, to see because of the dark. The darkness has made way for the light. So, it feels like these layers, again, that as we peel back and we embrace all of it, that illumination comes in. So even though, like I said, we're talking about starting off a new month and we're seeding new that has not yet come into wholeness, and we're not talking about a full moon, the opposite, a lack of light, an absence of light, that there is potential here for great breakthroughs in your inner wisdom and higher understanding. By using these silly little ways. I mean, we're talking about trick or treat and costumes and He-Man and, all this, all this stuff that causes me to finish all of this and go, am I crazy? Like, did I just make a total fool out of myself with these people? Like, what are you talking about? But, it's just one way of so many to access all of this. And if you have some fun along the way, if you're inspired, if there's creativity, if there's a return back to simpler aspects of yourself that have been longing to be expressed, we have an option now, an opportunity now to really grow into that. So that's what I'm getting here between these two as a sort of, wrapping up and culminating this whole month of October, how we came from the beginning to where we are now, and now pivoting toward the new month of November and all that lies on the other side. So let's take a look now at Friday's card, and that will be along with our new moon, Queen of the Moon oracle message to finish us out here. All right, finally Friday, we have 2 cards left to go. It is officially November 1st with that turn of the calendar, and we have a repeat card, the 6 of Swords. As I've mentioned, that came up with this card, the 8 of Cups over there, in the same week previously, a couple of weeks ago, an energy of expanding beyond, moving beyond what is challenging, what is choppy and difficult, and all the things to smoother waters, to new beginnings. It must be said, bring back the share of Castle Grayskull and the entrance to that castle. Hello. I mean, here's the Skeletor standing there with the opening that we're about to go into. And it's interesting because it actually says here, haunted tunnel on the back of the boat. So they're taking this ride through, again, all of this murky water into the unknown. They don't know what lies on the other side. So it's still rather tumultuous. There's still perhaps a lot of trepidation and a lot of feels of all kinds here. And we see the close-up now of these 2 on the boat with this guide and the 6 swords that are accompanying them. And again, the swords representing the air element, which connects in with our mind, with our thoughts, our ideas, and our beliefs, and things going on in the crown. And I mentioned to you upcoming in the energetic weather, this double dose of mercurial energy coming in, where we could be really caught up in our heads, really persisting with that analysis paralysis, or feeling completely frazzled and just, kaput. And also we could be getting inspired ideas and feeling some clarity come in on the other side. So we don't know what's on the other side of that mountain that we see there. So the Trick or Treat Tarot says, a spooky being with a big scythe puts you in a boat and invites you to float into the mouth of a monster. What could go wrong? Being scared is all part of the fun on Halloween. There is something so exciting about knowing you're going to be frightened and yet knowing that you are safe, or at least you hope you will be safe. Did you have to sign a waiver to get in that boat? I love the humor in here. So when this card comes up, you are on your way to safety. Whatever troubles you've been trying to overcome, whatever problems you've been trying to solve, you will soon sail away from them to a safe harbor. What you need to know is that you won't do it alone. You need help. No one likes to rely on others. We all want to be independent. Maybe that's the scariest part of this situation, admitting you need help and graciously accepting it. Try focusing on how good it will make the other person feel to be a hero. Go ahead, take the boat, the hand, whatever is offered. It's not going to kill you. So the keywords coming up are speaking to escape, assistance, admitting defeat, impossible situation, protection, and shelter. I can think of a few people in my orbit who are here, who very well may be connecting into this card of journeying on and traveling away from a situation and heading on to safe harbor, finally being free of something that has really been tossing us about, and we're feeling quite seasick from all of the energies of the emotions and the feels and the murkiness and all the things. Does it mean that there will never be another ripple, that there will never be high tide ever again? No, of course not. Because this is an evolutionary process that we're going through, and we are here to experience it all. So we ebb, we flow. But this is really beautiful because it kicks off a new month where we're being shown a doorway, a passage, an opportunity for us to move beyond all of this murky choppiness and to be reminded that we truly are not alone. And that there are offers of help coming in, which again, I was pulled into these two as I was reading that, because this is that offering, that hand that's coming in. And yes, it is calling for some discernment and some understanding around the blocks and challenges that can bring. And also this crew, this three that are here collaborating and co-creating together. And there are three here because traditionally this person, this being, this figure is on the back of the boat. And there's a sense of them being like a guide. There's a sense of them being a protector. So yes, the costume can be off-putting. It can be, cause a little bit of nerves to crop up here with this guy and his scythe. But actually, there is this sense of, I'm feeling like some calm and some reassurance that all will be well and that smoother waters are coming ahead. So as we persevere, which is the message of the 9, as we continue on, understanding that greater balance, harmony, and flow are coming in for us. So, Friday, the new month, and we'll really see next week when we get into our first full week of November, which again, I would say often does set the tone for a lot of the themes and energies that we'll see in a month. And we'll be with our new decks and on our new altar space that we can really feel into where to from here as we go into the thick of it, with Scorpio season and all of the energies. And then, of course, as we move through this new moon in Scorpio, that's bringing in all of that energy, which, as I shared with the energetic weather, may initially be a little crunchy, but actually can create some opportunities. And again, we'll be deep diving into that with the Empowerment Pack New Moon reading if you would like to go deeper. Let's bring in now our Queen of the Moon Oracle card to go with this day. All right, this is our final card for the week, wrapping up all of these collective messages. The Queen of the Moon Oracle card that came forward for us with this new moon in Scorpio happening on November 1st. We got the full moon card, which represents power. So it's really presenting itself in all of its fullness, which is it's so aligned with what's been coming forward. I just shared a message just for my Empowerment Pack peeps that are with me for October, kind of winding down the month and chatting with them about what all I was seeing come forward from the messages and all the readings that we did together and everything that we've been weaving. And may or may not have spontaneously sung a line from This Little Light of Mine. I'm going to let it shine, right? Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. That song of Shining Our Light. So here come the power card from the Queen of the Moon that says, step into your true power, shine brightly. Do not hide who and what you are. The time is right to attract big things for yourself. Ancestral energy is important. Open your mind to larger possibilities. Big magic can be wrought. And the mantra with this card says, I have power. It is real. It says, go outside on a clear night and look up. Hopefully you'll see the stars a-twinkling. If you are really lucky, you might see the swirling Milky Way spilling across the darkness. And then, there she is, the big full moon, unmistakable in her glory and power. She moves the earth itself, stabilizes it into orbit. She releases and pulls the seas. She is the object of devotion and the inspiration of poems, the realm of the goddesses, and she has witnessed the very first of us rise up on 2 legs and venerate her. Generation after generation, we have stood barefoot under the same moon, wishing, setting intentions, dancing, and drawing her graceful power. You are made of the very swirling matter that is the stuff of stars. You are pure possibility, changing constantly, renewing and transforming. Take this moment to recognize that power and rejoice in it, for your next step is the precursor to your future self. Wow, so powerful, so aligned with the messages that have been coming in. Yes, this is a new moon. No, we're not able to see it all. We might not be able to see a damn thing right now from where we are, and it could be pretty dense and a lot of other feels to go with it that are quite all-encompassing. Wherever you are, an opportunity to step into your innate power that never leaves you, even if you are unable to see, sense, and embody it in this moment. You are being enthusiastically, repeatedly reminded here that this power is already with you. This was a key message of that YouTube video I did last week. The power was with you all along, my dear, coming back into our own heart to be at home within ourself and our many selves. All of these aspects, the skins of the soul, all of the different brilliant disguises, and being discerning about what's coming with us and what are we leaving behind. So these two are saying, yes, some of these identities, some of these beliefs, some of these ways of being, I have outgrown them. There is no longer room for them on the boat. They're not coming with. There are some of those that we can release and let go and allow them to go, but they're actually really changing form. They're transforming into something new. You're still withdrawing from them a kernel of truth, of wisdom, a seed for the future that you want to build with as you go beyond. So they never truly leave you, especially if it's feeling very bittersweet for you to have to leave behind some things that maybe are very comfortable, very familiar, have been a part of your backdrop for a very long time, that you've had a particular relationship with that is now changing and transitioning. And that process can be so many things. We have this beautiful reminder of this power within you and how you can tap into that in the most beautiful way. So I hope these messages have been speaking to you with all my antics and all my my goofiness. I trust that there's some goodies in there for you, some treats amongst the tricky aspects that we're all navigating. And may you find peace and comfort in the knowing that you are not in this alone, that I'm there with you. I would absolutely not be at the front of the boat if we were about to go into a haunted tunnel. I don't do scary things. I don't like haunted houses. I have stories that I've experienced, but knowing that there is strength within all of us coming together and the ways in which we can support each other and uplift each other and co-create together, I would get on that boat with you, but you're going to have to be in the front seat. Okay. Thank you guys so much for humoring me. I hope you've enjoyed the messages and all of the fun that we've had with this deck. It's not over yet. We still have the rest of the week for all the Halloween fun and the Samhain energies and all of the goodies that we still have yet to come. But wrapping it up here, again, if you would like a free personal card pull, please feel free to let me know in the way that works for you. I'll be getting to those in divine timing this week around the kickoff of the Empowerment Pack. So I would love for you to join me for a month of connection, of really gleaning some insights and awarenesses into your own empowerment for the month of November. So the Empowerment Pack available now, the New Moon a la carte reading available now. Hello Empowerment is just a one-off reading if you want just one reading where we can focus on the month ahead or any other area that you would like to explore. And more. So please let me know if you have questions about those offerings, but I really appreciate you all being here. Keep your eyes peeled for the November Sharecast link that is now available for you to hop on over and continue with me into the next month. All right, guys, thank you so much. Sending you so much love, many blessings. Happy Halloween. Blessed Samhain. See you this week for more fun. Much love.